we see that humility is a concept that occupies a prominent place in the New Testament. In the Gospel of Mark, Jesus tells his disciples, "Whoever wants to be great among you will be your servant, and whoever wants to be first among you will be the slave of all. For the Son of Man didn't come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many." Also in Hebrews it's written, "For we don't have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weakness, but one who has been tasted in every way, yet without sin." This question shows us that spiritual leaders should be aware that they are not free from weakness, and therefore they must be humble and now they know that they are far from being perfect. All of these ideas seem to be inscribed in the stream of Jewish thought, and they are also inscribed in the Jewish sources that deal with the theme of humility. In the book of Numbers, the great humility of Moses is described as follows. "Now the man Moses was very humble, more humble than anyone else on earth." His humility needs some questions. It was Moses who received the Torah on Mount Sinai. He was with God on the mountains for 40 days and 40 nights, and even before that he was the one who brought the children of Israel out of Egypt, and he could talk to God whenever he wanted. Yet the Bible testifies that there was no prophet in Israel like Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face. On the other hand, we learn that Moses was the most humble man in the universe. The answer is that the greater and more important the person, the more humble they are accepted to be. This ties in nicely with that Jesus says, "Whoever wants to be first among you will be the slave of all." In Psalm we read, "A king is not saved by a great army, nor a warrior delivered by great strength. Useless is the horse for safety. Despite its great strength, it cannot be saved. Behold, the eye of Lord is upon those who fear him, upon those who cannot on his mercy, upon those who count on his mercy. The king and the warrior doesn't win with the greatest of their power and his valor, but by recognizing that salvation and victory come from God and not from him. This recognition that the strength and the solution doesn't come from us is an important element in the value of humility. Let us turn for a moment to the example of Rabbi Tzadok, who lived in Jerusalem at the end of the Second Temple period and was contemporary of Jesus. Did he and Jesus meet in the street of the city? We have no way to knowing. In any case, Rabbi Tzadok is regarded as one of the righteous of Jerusalem. He used to say, "Don't turn Torah into a crown to be proud of." In other words, don't study Torah in order to be honored by the words of Torah and to gain additional benefits such as honor and greatness. In the same chapter of Pirkei Avot, after Rabbi Tzadok's statement, there is a quote from another rabbi named Rabbi Levitas from the city of Yavne. He said, "Be very low in spirit, for one's opponents are high." The meaning of low spirit is humility of a highest order, to feel like a poor and a destitute person. Why? Because of the end of man is to be at the mercy of worms and to rot in the grave. The one who follows the way of Rabbi Levitas is Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon. According to him, one should take a balanced approach of the middle way and avoid extremes, except in the case of humility. In this case, one should not take the middle path and must distance oneself from pride. One must hold oneself lowly and with very unassuming spirit. On the other hand, in the Midrash, Tosefta, in Shabbat, there is a sharp criticism of Rabbi Zechariah ben Avkilis. The Midrash argues that his humility caused the destruction of the temple because he didn't want to use his authority to protest against the injustice that happened at the end of the Second Temple period. Apparently, out of humility, the point of the criticism against him is that one should know how to be humble and not use humility as an excuse to avoid the public in an environment necessary for the sake of justice and honesty. According to the stories of the righteous and the ancient Jewish tradition, there are 36 hidden righteous thanks to whom the world exists. The idea of 36 hidden tzaddikim, righteous, was one of the ideas that gave rise to the Hasidic movement in the 18th century. According to this belief, even a person who looks simple or ordinary, who doesn't seem important on the outside, can be a great tzaddik without the people around him being aware of it. A well-known Hasidic story tells of the founder of the Hasidic movement, Rabbi Israel of Mezhebuzh in Ukraine, who one day received a revolution from heaven telling him that there was a man of higher spiritual level than himself who worshipped God more than he did. Rabbi Israel took some of his disciples on a trip to a distant forest, and as they entered the forest, he saw a country boy of very simple appearance praying to God and saying, "Lord of the world, I love you so much and I want to be closer to you, but I don't know how to read and I don't know how to pray in our customary way, but I can play the floor in your honor. That is what I can do. Then he took the floor from his backpack and began to play a beautiful melody in honor of God. Rabbi Israel then said to his disciples, "Now we all understand why he is more important in heaven than I am." Our scribe here.